Welcome, Ms. Shamoun, for our show tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Yaldo. Thank you for having me on your show, and thank you for creating awareness for the TEACH program, which is under the direct umbrella of AdoptA Refugee Family and HelpIraq.org and St. Thomas the Apostle Chaldean Diocese here in the United States.
Would you please be kind and tell the audience what is this program about and when did it start?
It would be my pleasure. TEACH was established 1 year ago. It was during the end of the summer months of last year after the invasion and displacement of Iraqi Christians in the Middle East, primarily in Iraq, Syria, Jordan, and Turkey. And what TEACH stands for, it stands for Teachers Educating and Creating Hope. And as I mentioned, it is under the direction of St. Thomas the Apostle Chaldean Diocese here in the metropolitan Detroit area, specifically under Bishop Francis Alabat, and HelpIraq.org, which is a wonderful organization that not only is the umbrella organization for TEACH, but also for Mercy, which is the medical group of doctors and people who are assisting with the medical needs of those that have been displaced, and Justice, Project Justice, which is a group of attorneys and lawyers who have been working very hard to get the word to our congressmen, to all of our elected officials. They have been traveling to Washington, D.C., meeting with the president, meeting with the United Nations, in order to try to get some of these refugees, to get them political asylum in safe areas.
Ever since you started that program, could you please tell me what did you achieve? What did you do so far?
Sure. When we felt the need to come together as educators. It is a wonderful group of educators from the metropolitan Detroit area, as well as lay people who felt a calling to help the children and families who have been displaced, not only with their educational needs, to try to help them to continue with their education, because many of these kids have been without schooling for many, many years. Mm-hmm. The ones that are in Syria, Turkey, and Jordan have had interrupted schooling for several years, mm-hmm. and they're not allowed to go to school. The parents are not allowed to work. They are not allowed to have any sort of academic learning. And so we felt the need to come together to say, listen, not only do we need to help those who have been displaced in northern Iraq, but we need to help anyone whose kids have been displaced, whether they're Chaldean, whether they're Catholic, Christian, Yazidi, Muslim. It doesn't really matter. We help everyone because that is what our faith teaches us to do. Our Lord Jesus Christ is our Savior, and it is our duty and our responsibility to help anyone who is in need.
Bless your heart. That's great when you work with so many diverse groups with this mentality. I'm pretty sure this would reflect, hopefully, on the other people to do as well. Are you doing any? Are you providing these children with school supplies only, or you're providing them with teaching meanings, books or teachers or places where they can be taught ABC, or what is exactly?
Well, in the past year, not only have we helped them with providing them with school supplies as well as a safe haven for them to go and learn, what we've done, we started primarily, especially with the people in northern Iraq who left their homes in the middle of the night, often with only the shirts on their backs, They couldn't take anything with them. They left behind their homes, their belongings, their everything that they ever knew, and had to travel many, many miles in order to reach a safe haven where they were not going to be persecuted for simply being Christian. And those people, unfortunately, had to live in makeshift tents. They had to live then after being in these tents. Those that were lucky enough were put into caravans, which was supported by HelpIraq.org, and they were able to get all of the people into caravans or better shelter areas. So what we started with, these people left with nothing. We needed to provide them with humanitarian items. For example, once winter was approaching, many of these people had never faced the cold winters in the north.
Yep.
And, we in Michigan experience winter. We have the pleasure of experiencing all four seasons. Many of the displaced had never faced cold winter months. They didn't have shoes. They didn't have coats. They didn't have hats. They didn't have scarves. They didn't have anything to shelter them from the bitterly cold nights. And so we had a coat drive, and we were able to provide thousands of coats through the generosity of many of our donors, our community that came together, as well as other communities outside of the Chaldean community in order to provide new clothes, coats, hats, shoes, feminine hygiene products, baby formula. One of our very own members, one of the leaders of Teach, who spearheaded, getting all of these educators together, is Rasid Yaldo.
Yep.
And many of you probably know him. He's very involved in the community and is a very strong community activist. He actually traveled to northern Iraq once the crisis hit, and he came back and was able to provide us with a lot of information as to where the areas were the hardest hit, how many people were in each area, in each of the camps, and what their primary needs were at that time. And so he provided Teach with a very good assessment of what needed to be done and how we could help. And so we started with a clothing drive and a coat drive, and we sent over school supplies. During the Christmas holiday, we had a toy drive, and we distributed toys to many of the camps so that the kids could have something to play with and something to open on Christmas morning.
Exactly. Talking about Rafid, I had the pleasure not to work with him only, but I also had the honor to interview him through this program, same as with Dr. Nazih Bachuri, and then also with Mr. Basil Baqal. And I have wrote several articles about their great humanitarian mission as well. I would like to ask you, Ms. Shamoun, who helped you? Where do you get the money from? Is there a governmental statue that helped you, or mainly it's from the community? And because this is important for so many people to know, where do you guys get the money from?
Well, 100% of all the proceeds that go to HelpIraq.org, it is an organization that is 100% transparent, and every penny that is donated to Help Iraq goes to fund all of the wonderful programs, whether it be for Teach, for Mercy, or for Project Justice, or for any other humanitarian needs. And the way that we've generated funds, we are all volunteers. There are no paid positions. These are all volunteers who felt a calling and felt that we have a moral obligation to our brothers and sisters back home to try to do whatever we can to provide the resources that we have available here in order to help those who cannot help themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of our, we have about approximately 20 members who are, like I said, are primarily in the education field, mostly teachers. We have a Chaldean principal who's also a part of our committee. And what we do is we meet on a regular basis, usually once a month. Sometimes we have communication online, but we're in constant communication with each other to try to brainstorm and come up with different ideas as to how to help. We've had some fundraisers, and all of the money that was raised, 100% of the money that was raised, went towards the programs in order to try to get schools started. We're in the process of working with Father Fadi and a priest in Jordan by the name of Father Khalil. And what we would like to do is we're in the stages of getting a school open in a community called Marca, mm-hmm. which is where many Christians have been, or many Christians and many non-Christians, any refugees who are now displaced. And unfortunately, those kids have been without schooling for a number of years. So we're in the final stages of trying to get a school open for 350 students and provide them with an education.
That's in Jordan?
That's going to be in Jordan. And we're also working with, we had Father Douglas Bezdi, who was here from Erbil. He's from Mar Elia camp in Erbil. And he was here last month, and he graciously met with Teach members and spoke to us about the programs that he has available at his camp. But there are a few other communities in northern Iraq where the displaced are and have been for the past year, and they do not have any type of schooling or materials or anything that they need in order to provide an education. So we're working very closely with him to try to get that started as well.
Ms. Shamoun, I would like to ask you kindly, how could a person contact you? And if it is all possible, to mention some of the names that it's within your committee, that people might know them by name and they can contact them, because this, I mean, I don't know if you have a center or if the St. Thomas is your center. Some people they would like to know, some people they would like to contact. How could we make it easy for them?
Sure. We welcome anyone who is willing and would like to make a difference and would like to help the displaced people, our displaced brothers and sisters. You do not need to be an educator. You do not need to be a teacher in order to volunteer. We're always looking for volunteers. Anybody who wants to help, we can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Chaldeans Teach. And also, if anybody is interested in volunteering, they can simply send an email to Chaldeans Teach, that's CHALDEANS @gmail.com. And we are more than welcome. We check our email regularly, and we're more than happy to have you come on board. It's a great group of volunteers, and everyone, the ultimate goal is to try to help the displaced, whether they be Christians, Yazidis, Muslims. We help anyone who is in need.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for the information. And from deep of my heart, I wish you the best of luck for this great mission and for the great soul that you guys have, helping people you don't know, helping people you've never met, maybe you will never meet. But to have this kind of soul, God bless you, and wish you the best of luck for your program.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yaldo. It has been a pleasure, and I appreciate you creating awareness. And I encourage everyone to visit www.helpiraq.org. And there are many opportunities for you to get involved, not just with Teach, but we need help in all areas, not just with education. We have medical clinics that cost anywhere between $35,000 to $40,000 a month in order for these people to get the medical assistance that they need. We have a group of lawyers that are working diligently to try to get these people the political, from refugee status to travel to places where they're going to be welcome. And so it's a very transparent organization, and it's an organization that has been helping many for many years, not just now with the ISIS crisis, but even before. AdoptA Refugee has been around for a number of years. It's a reputable organization, and it is an organization that is 100% transparent. And your help is needed. Assistance is always needed, whether it's financial assistance, whether it's giving of your time, or simply just praying for our brothers and sisters who are in need.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shamoun, and good night to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good night.
مشاهدينا الكرام، كان هذا لقاء